Hello, this is Erica Norton, and I'm the founder of Perfect Legal Video. I'm very excited to have with us today Attorney Nicole Reeves Lavallee. She owns a real estate and family law firm in the Worcester area. She and her team are fantastic, and we are very fortunate to have Nicole with us almost every week, giving us tips in both of those areas of the law. And it can save us a lot of time and money and headaches, and we absolutely appreciate it. And today we're going to be talking about, what happens if your ex doesn't pay their child support. So welcome to the show, Nicole.
Thanks for having me.
So as I understand it, I mean, this is an issue that a lot of people have from time to time because you think that you go through the court and you get everything set up and then you think it's just going to go smoothly, right? And how often does it go smoothly?
It actually probably goes smoothly about 85% of the time. But then you have those outliers that are just going, nope, I'm not doing it. And some of them are just, financially struggling, and others are adamant that come hell or high water, I am not paying you.
Mm. Well, I mean, it definitely hurts, especially if you're paying your ex, but you have to remember that the money is really to support children. There's a ton of expenses when it comes to that, as we all know. I mean, there's medical, there's food, there's new clothes. They have a new wardrobe every year at some point when they're growing, and activities, entertainment. There's just you name it. There's expenses, everything that adults have, but multiply it by two because they grow out all their clothes and they eat a lot more a lot of times while they're growing. So, it's definitely a real cost to having children. There's a lot of real costs.
Absolutely. And I think, that's one of the things that people will go, well, yeah, but I don't see it. Or, oh, look, they're taking too many vacations. Well, okay, what that other person is doing is none of your business. The reality is they're still putting a roof over the child's head. They're still putting dinner on the table. And that's what people need to understand, because they want to focus on, well, I don't really see it going to my child. You're never going to see it going to your child. The way it's going to your child is it's by putting a roof over your head and putting food in your tummy, buying clothing.
I had an interesting thing happen the other day. I had sent my child to sleepaway horseback riding camp. And that is very expensive. And I really had to scrimp and save to be able to do that. But this year, we moved to a farm and we have the horses here. So, that's another cost. And, we have horse camp every day. But when I went and when I said that I was just kind of strapped for like coming up with extra for an actual camp this year, the response to my child was, "Hey, I give your mom X amount. She should be able to afford this." Like, told her, and it's not the first time, what it was, and why can't she afford just putting all the money on that? Like, there's no other expense. Like, it's just free money every month. It's crazy.
And first and foremost, that should never, ever be said to a child. We do not engage children in adult conversations, and that's certainly an adult conversation. I don't care how old your child is. I don't care if the child is 17 and a half. Guess what? The child's not an adult, and we're not going to engage. And even when you're 18, don't do that. Don't put that child in the middle, because all they're going to do is end up hating you, because I can't believe you were so mean to mom or dad or whoever it was, because they're going to see that reality. They understand that household that they're living in. And mom or dad are just going to have to say, no, I'm sorry, I can't afford it. That's the way to properly deal with it, not for a person to say, well, it's because I'm paying child support, she should be able to. So that's something that really the judges are not going to take lightly. You're going to lose that relationship with your child if that statements continue. And ultimately, what benefit is it doing anyone?
It's true. And that's it's just a special thing that can happen, when you can't afford to do that extra special thing because everybody struggles with summer camps. I think I've heard it more than once, where it's like, oh God, I got this big extra expense. So yeah, that's something. So let's and that's not something that's in a divorce agreement where anyone has to split, summer camps unless you put it in there. I'm sure that some people do. If a kid has been doing it every year leading up to the breakup, then they make sure that that's in there and that there's a fair split of that expense. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that can be negotiated. I would say probably about 35 to 45% of the time it is included in there. But really, again, depends on what that family dynamic looks like, whether or not it's been a tradition, whether or not it's something that, the child wants to go back to. Sometimes it's, this child's been looking forward to this all year long. Like that's what they expect when they get out of school. And then there's other times that it's just, mom or dad had to go back to work because they can't be a single parent unemployed now because they have a not intact family anymore. And so now we don't have a choice.
I mean, you do hear about people when they go through a breakup, there are certain things now you're trying to, you've got two household expenses and you've got to let some things go. Some of the fun stuff has to go sometimes, but hopefully only temporarily until everybody kind of finds their feet again. And that's really what you hope for. Because you don't want children to suffer, but not everyone gets to go to horse camp. So, so let's talk about what happens if people, I mean, I hate to say this, but during a divorce, people play a lot of games, with the paperwork and with showing their financials and like all that stuff. And they play games and, oh, you didn't find it and I didn't send it. And unfortunately, that also happens with child support. So, oh yeah, no, I paid it. It's a week late. It's a week late every week. Like whatever the game is, it throws somebody off. And yeah, they may be struggling financially, but a lot of times, people aren't. People just, they're either not planning for it, don't care about it, don't think about it until you call and say, hey, where's the child support this week?
Yeah, and I think, that's there's the orders are always written in Massachusetts very clearly. Child support is due on Friday starting blah. So June 26th, 2026, and every Friday thereafter. And that's when that payment is due. And so, everyone has to plan accordingly. The recipient is certainly planning on receiving that money on that particular day. The payor needs to make sure that that money is delivered on that day. Not I'll mail it out that day, not I'll get around to it when I get around to it that day. Everybody's relying on this money. So it really is crucial to make sure that we're delivering it on the day that it's due. And again, the courts are always going to say every single Friday. Now, you'll have people that are paid biweekly, and sometimes they'll say every single Friday to be paid biweekly, but there'll be some language in there. Otherwise, it's due every single Friday. Anywhere in the Commonwealth, that's when DOR starts doing all their collections. That's when everyone else in the Commonwealth knows it's due on Friday. That's when the courts are going to assume the money is due beginning that Friday.
Now, what about people that like to pay like a lump sum, but their first payment might be late? So, like maybe they're paying for 2 weeks ahead of time, or like 1 week is supposed to be on time, and then they pay the other week ahead of time. But then they don't give you the check until like, oh, don't cash that until next Tuesday, even though it's due Friday. Like, what about those people?
Yeah, those people are the people that I'm going to say call DOR and have DOR start using your services, because the reality is that's not acceptable. Again, unless you're financially sound and you don't have to worry about it, and congratulations if you are in that boat, but the majority of the people are not. They're going to live some form of paycheck to paycheck. And even if it's because we need to put our child in camp this week, or we have family outing that we're going someplace, or a family reunion, whatever it is, I don't care. The reality is most people are going to live some form of paycheck to paycheck. They're relying on it. It's a date certain. You need to make it happen. If you don't, then I'm going to say let's go in and file a contempt, because that's unacceptable. That's all that's doing is screwing up with your income and your expenses. And the reality is you might be relying on that mailed out a check on the basis of, I'm going to get this money. I didn't get it. Oh my God. I already sent out the check for my mortgage. Oh my God. When is it going to come in? And then you're freaked out. And then, oh, more importantly, that check to the mortgage company bounces. but you don't necessarily know it bounces until, wait, it's 30 days late, and now you've got it on your credit report. That's how things snowball. So again, when you're having that issue, really it takes a look of, let's make sure maybe we need to do either direct deposit and ensure it's done that day. And there's no excuses for direct deposit. People can have it taken out of their check, a garnishment. Oh, they get paid bi-weekly. Okay, great. Every bi-weekly, when your paycheck hits, it's going to hit your account. So there's ways that we can avoid it. If you can't avoid it, go to DOR. DOR will start collecting on it. They will start charging penalties and interest, and they know exactly when it's due, which is, by the way, every Friday.
Well, I mean, there is a trick with that whole, check that, oh, they just put it in your account every week. It's just sometimes if they forget to put the money in the account, then you don't realize that it didn't go through, and you notice the next day, and you're like, hey, what happened? And it takes several days to try to fix that.
Absolutely. And that's, like I said, that's what I think is crucial is you're relying on it for whatever reason. And a day late is a day late. That's a problem. And yeah, things happen. And I would say, if it happens once a year, okay, that's life. You got to kind of deal with that. If it happens 2 times, thinking we got issues. 3 times, you're done. I'm going to say we need to do another method and we need to get this on time in the right location.
But you don't see this that often, so that's a really good thing.
Absolutely. It is a good thing. And I think, the reality is, I think people genuinely try. I mean, I have a lot of clients that are calling me up and going, hey, I just heard from my ex and he said that his car broke down and he really needed to get work done. And he wants to pay it on Wednesday. What should I do? Okay, well, financially, can you do it on Wednesday? Or maybe he can't pay the full amount. Did you ask him if maybe he could give you $50 or $100 just to get you through the weekend? Oh, that's a great idea. And so you get a little bit of the money that you're due. You're going to get the rest of it in installments. But, most people genuinely have the ability to go, I understand I'm screwing up. How can I help you to get through this period while we're trying to figure this out together?
And I think that if you were paying, to look at it from the other side, if you did lose your job, or if maybe you lost your job and you're doing, maybe you're underemployed for a little while, you are trying, they might give you a break on the child support during that time. Is that right? Is that a whole process that you have to go through?
You would have to go in and file a modification, or if there's something pending right now, then you could go in on motion for further temporary orders. But it has to be that you lost your job through no fault of your own. You get fired for sleeping on the job, well, then guess what? We're not going to give you that discount. But I got laid off, or, the company is downsizing, or, they just decided that they didn't need my role anymore. Yes, the court will definitely take a look at that and will adjust your child support accordingly. And the first questions out of their mouth is going to be, okay, so have you applied for unemployment? Because we also know that you're going to be able to get unemployment if it wasn't due to your fault.
And that's true. And then if that goes on for a long time, they don't find a job making the same amount of money that they used to, or what you would think they would be worth, then you would be, some people, believe it or not, will go and be underemployed or just look for under the table jobs where they get paid cash so that they don't have to pay child support. But they still get in trouble for that, don't they?
Yeah, the court is going to ask questions. Okay, we're going to give this to you short term, but guess what? Your unemployment benefits are going to run out at some point. And then we're going to see whether or not you're dipping into your savings or how you're paying your bills. Because, my spouse is a doctor and I don't really need to have a job. So don't mind me. I'm going to tell you I'm unemployed and I'm really looking for a job, but I'm really not doing that. So there are those situations too. So they're going to say, okay, so sir, ma'am, show me all the places that you've searched for a job. Show me the applications, show me the resumes, show me the responses you've gotten. Because guess what? In the digital age, you can't really say, oh, well, I walked into the grocery store and I handed my resume. Okay, great. and there's an online application, and there's and. So there's always going to be a paper trail now that we're going to go, okay, show us the documents that showed you actually applied for that. Show me what, and if you make $200,000 a year, yes, you're probably not looking for an entry level grocery store job. But, show me that you're looking for jobs within your range. And in your range might be, hey, look, I made 200,000, but I have to settle for 75 now because I've been on the market, or what I was doing, I don't have the technology skills for anymore. Okay, but it's still a job. And on the other side is, show me that you're a minimum wage worker and you can't find another minimum wage job. They're going to start scratching their head going, really? So, they can assess you at least a minimum wage job position for purposes of child support. And if you were somebody that made earnings significantly and you can't show, they're going to say, okay, well, your earning capacity over the last 5 years has been $100,000, so we're going to say that you should be at least be able to get $90,000, and they're going to assess child support at $90,000. So there's ways to get around it to show you are underemployed, you are unemployed, or you're just flat out lying.
So I guess the long story short is just like pay your child support. It sounds like it's a big pain in the butt if you don't, and you could get in a lot of trouble. It's the bill you should pay first, really, because it has to do with your children.
Absolutely. And the reality is, again, your child's relying on you. You don't want mom or dad on the other flip side of going, God, your father, your mother's such a deadbeat, they won't pay child support. And mom and dad shouldn't be doing that. But again, those comments will come across, probably not necessarily to the child, but I'm talking to my friend Sally on the phone. I'm telling, yeah, I can't believe what he's doing to me. He just won't pay his child support. I'm struggling here. I got nothing. I'm going to the food pantry. Your kid's hearing that.
And you don't want that either. No, every kid wants to feel safe. And that's why you should call Nicole and her team if you are having this issue or any other issue or real estate transactions, any of that, wills even, they do a great job with all of those things. I've used you for all of those things, and I've been very happy. A lot of aha moments, things that, they say you don't know what you don't know. And that's why you hire Nicole and her team, because then you know. And they're very thorough, and they're great at following up and making sure that you have everything you need to get the best results that you can. It's not everyone's always gonna get like a pie in the sky result. You've got to be reasonable. And what I also like about them is that they are reasonable. They tell you realistically, what you're looking at, what are the options, and which strategy is probably going to get a certain outcome. And you can kind of pick your poison then, and go through and know what you're doing while you're doing it, instead of paying for terrible mistakes later.
Thank you for all those kind words. And I think the reality is we really try to be on top of things. I mean, we've been in this business for over 25 years. The simple fact of the matter is that, we've seen a lot of things, and I'm really, really good at doing worst case scenarios. I do worst case scenarios because it's going to benefit you. If you can see, hey, look, this might happen or this might happen, we can at least come up with a game plan with, if this does happen, then how are we going to handle it? And that goes along all of our areas of practice, not just family law.
Well, thank you so much for all of this fantastic information, Nicole. We appreciate you coming here every week. And thanks everybody out there for watching. I hope you learned something. I hope that you give her a call if you have any questions about any of your own personal strategies for real estate or family law. Have a great weekend, Nicole.
Thanks for having me.
And you're welcome. And thanks everybody. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.